Hello guys, it's me, it's Derpkit, and welcome to another plugin review. Today I'm gonna review the plugin Irid by the company Tritik or Tritik, you name it. So let's start off. What is this plugin? This plugin is just like Valhalla Shimmer. It's a special reverb engine that lets you create really atmospheric sounds. So before I get to the interface, let's play off a demo. As you can see, it sounds really atmospheric, and all of that is thanks to Irid. So let's see how it sounds without Irid. As you can see, it sounds nice and all, but it misses something, it misses atmosphere, so that's where Irid comes into play. As you can see, it's fully wet, there is no dry signal, it's just the wet signal, and let's see how it sounds now. As you can see in here, Irid really helped. It made everything just so atmospheric and wow, just wow. So before I get to the interface, let's start with the reverb theory and how reverb works. So the way reverb works is, let's say you're in a room and you clap your hands. So basically the sound of the clap is being reflected by the walls in the room. So basically reverberation is just the reflections that come off from walls and from whatever the sound is hitting. So basically reverb plugins emulate that by sending the same signal at different volumes and in different areas in the stereo spectrum. So now that we know how it works, we can see how to work with Irid. So let's play with the size. So if the size is bigger, the delay between the signals will be longer, and if the size is smaller, the delay between the same signal is quicker. So let's have the size all the way up. As you can see, it's really big. And as the size goes down, the grains, I will call them grains, are almost instantaneous when the sound plays. So now we have the diffusion. Now what is diffusion? Diffusion is basically it blurs the sound, it gives it more attack and release. So the reflections, instead of sounding like delay, they will sound softer, they will have longer release, they will sound more pads rather than the same signal. So let's increase the diffusion. As you can see, it blows them out. So now that we know how the size and diffusion works, we can get to these Phonobs. So modulation is basically shifting the pitch of the reverberation signal up and down. As you can see, the more modulation, the more detuned it sounds. And the width is basically if you want the reverberation to be mono or stereo. So let's have it all the way up, because obviously we want a stereo sound. And these are pretty much self-explanatory. This is a low cut and this is the high cut. So you could specify in which range the reverberation signal will be heard. So now that this is out of the way, let's look at the dry and wet. So here, instead of getting a dry and wet knob, we get two sliders, and one of them is the dry signal and its volume. From 12 decibels to minus infinite, and same for the wet. So we can be really precise with that one. Instead of just having a knob of like dry and wet, we can turn off the dry signal, we can turn off the wet signal, and we can lock them, which means that if they are locked you cannot touch them, and if they are unlocked you can play around with them. Yeah, and now you have the pre-delay. So what the pre-delay is doing is basically how much delay will the reverberation have to take effect after the signal is played. So let's say half a second. So when I play the sound, half a second later you will hear the effect, and so on. And then you have the feedback. I guess it's just feeding back and giving more reflections of the reverb signal. And when it's frozen, I believe that it's just constant feedback. Yep. There we go. So now we have 2 pitch shifters and 1 frequency shifter. So the way this reverb works is if you do not have any of the shifters volume on, you don't hear the reverberation. As you can see, that's a dry sound. So if you want a wet sound, you need to increase one of these or all of these. Depends what you choose. So now we know that we have basically 3 signals of reverberation, and now you have a reverse button. So let's click it and let's see. As you can see, it reverses the signal. So that's out of the way. Now, what are those? So these basically, once you click, you have an option of pitch shifting. Basically, you have chords in here, and you can have the reverb signal 1 octave higher than the dry signal, and that way you can create really cool soundscapes. As you can see, we can hear the octaves play a role. Now let's have only a wet signal, and let's make a chord. Let's get a major 7th C. Sounds really cool. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to the frequency shifter. So what this frequency shifter does is, well, it is frequency shifting, but I'm not sure if it's 100% wet, because well, let me show you. So let's have a really high frequency. As you can see, it seems like it's 50% wet, and basically it shifts 2000 Hertz, 50% of the reverb signal, so you will get the normal tone of it and then the frequency shift tone of it. So the range is ranging from 2000 to minus 100 Hertz. Now that we know how the interface works, let's play with the sound a little, and now I'm gonna show you a cool trick. So the thing is with this plugin is it's a special algorithm, and you get a frequency shifter that is 50% wet. Now, when a frequency shifter is 50% wet, when you shift things like a really small amount, like 3 Hertz, it sounds phasey, it sounds like some phaser. So let's get a sustained sound so we could hear. Let's get to the conclusions. Is this plugin worth it? Oh yes, definitely. And what are its pros and cons? So let's start off with the pros. First of all, I could say that it's one of its kind. Like, this plugin is really unique and really special, and if you want to make cool soundscapes or get really cool phasery sound, this is your friend, this is your way to go, and yeah, you should use it. The good things about this plugin is that it has not only one shifter but 3, and it means that it's really versatile. You have 2 pitch shifters and you can get 1 frequency shifter. You have 1 frequency shifter, and that's really cool. And so far it's great. It's a great plugin, but if we are getting to the cons, there is one thing I wish we could have. So since this plugin is pretty new, I believe, yeah, as you can see, it's version 1.0. I do not expect a lot of features, but one thing I would like to have is a more versatile pitch shifter. I want to be able to make my own, to write down my own chords in here, and to be a little bit more precise. Let's say I want like 5 octaves, which I don't know why you would want it, but you get the idea. It would be really cool to make your, like, every chord, instead of just having like minor, majors and all of that in here. I would like to have more options, or just have let's say you open a menu and then you get like 5 voices. So with these you could basically pitch shift each of the voices to make your own chord, etc, and on top of that have some presets of chords like these ones. So yeah, maybe just have a voicing feature that lets you add up more voices if you want, like make bigger chords or whatever. So yeah, that was a short video, I think. It's a really good plugin, and it's really cheap as well. It's like 50 euros, 60 euros, I don't know. I will put everything in the description, and yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and yeah, see you later.